CN Inside the Studio is proudly sponsored by F&M Bank.
Hello and welcome to Inside the Studio. I am Sarah Kittle, the editor of the Chaldean News, and I am here with Dr. Adhid Miri, who is one of our great writers. Hello, Dr. Miri.
Greetings. Thank you, Sarah, for the kind words.
Okay, well, we're going to get to know you a little bit better because we've been reading your stories for years now, and we'd like to know a little bit more about the man behind the stories. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you were born?
Sure. I was born in Baghdad, Iraq, many moons ago, in fact, in 1948. I'm an academic by background, a scientist. I'm a chemist. In fact, worked in academia both in Iraq, where I was born, and also in England, where I was educated. I came to the United States in 1981, and since then, I've been very immersed and involved in the community in many different ways. I enjoy serving the community, being part of it, and contributing to it.
And you've contributed so much. I know that there are a few different careers that you went through before you ended up being a writer and a teacher here, also at CCF West. Can you tell us a little bit about your early ventures when you first came to the States?
Yes. Many of us early immigrants came under duress, difficult times. Our immigration was not really structured properly. I was probably more fortunate than many others, many pioneers that preceded me. So when I came here, it was really a tough time economically. The country, the United States, was going through a transition from the Carter administration to the Reagan administration. Inflation was very high. Jobs were very rare. I found a job as a chemist at Park Davis in the Midlands, but the family didn't want to move there, so I decided to become a businessman. So I ventured to different kind of businesses. I like liquids, so I opened a brewery at some point in time, Copper Canyon. Prior to that, I was in the coffee business, another wonderful liquid. The Coffee Exchange, which later on I sold with a partner to Caribou Coffee. And so I jumped from a business to the other. I don't consider myself a very good businessman, but business served me well. It sent the kids to good colleges, good school, good education. And when I retired sometime around 2016, I was asked again to come back and work with the Chaldean Community Foundation with Martin and this wonderful team that we have here. And I transitioned from I always loved reading, writing, and I transitioned from being a scientist to a writer.
Well, I would say that you are a natural educator because you are always teaching us things every day here. And it sounds like you were a little bit ahead of your time too with the coffee company and the brewery because those are really, really big businesses now. I know that you, like you said, you have your degree in chemistry. That's what your doctorate is in. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you did with your chemistry?
Yes. Chemistry is a wonderful subject, really. It's really the math of dealing with molecules and atoms and creating something. Chemistry is a connector. We are all made of chemical elements: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. And so after my bachelor's training and my training in England and working at King's College for a period of time, I really developed greater affinity to research in chemistry. Later on, I took that with me as a young scientist. The government of Iraq at the time invited us to go and rebuild the country in the mid-'70s. And I went and I served at Basra University in the south, second largest city of Iraq. And then in September 19 80, the first Gulf War erupted with Iran, and we were under constant shelling. Students were dying crossing the Shatt al Arab waterway coming to the campus, which was closer to the Iranian border. And so it was a decision for me then to, unfortunately, abandon chemistry, leave the job I loved and the subject I really enjoyed, and came to the United States. So I was really forced, basically, to exit chemistry, which was unfortunate for me, but I learned something else. Instead of the chemistry of elements, I learned the chemistry of life, the chemistry of people, and I enjoyed that immensely.
Oh, I love that. And you also found a new love because you are our culture and history writer extraordinaire, and you know so much about the history of Iraq, the history of the community here. You worked on a project, we worked on a project together for the Chaldean Town Marker, historical marker. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and what that means to you?
Yes, perhaps my second and most probably precious love is the love of history and culture and languages. And in fact, people sometimes ask me, they said, "Look, what brings you to these topics?" And I say, "Well, um, uh, I believe it was one of my aunts who told me that when I was first born and in Iraq in 1948, we didn't have hospitals, advanced hospitals like here. So most of the births happened at home with midwives and so on. And my mom had not prepared everything for the new baby, me. And instead of wrapping me with the right material, they wrapped me with books and newspapers from my father's library. And these became like tattoos that are printed on me. So maybe that had something to do with my love of languages, of literature, of reading, and maybe that's how the journey began. Yes, science was another addition to it, but being part of the culture, growing in a very united, strong family, helps you enter these arenas. And maybe if you have great interest in them, you can excel. I read a lot, I follow a lot, I travel a lot, and I'm fascinated by history and geography because the two uh, basically build our knowledge. And I think that explains why I am so involved in writing and so more, and so involved in producing material that I share with people because you'll be surprised how many people don't know even their own culture. So it is our responsibility, it's our role of this generation to explore and expose that to our younger generation.
How can we get the younger generation involved? I mean, I know that you, first of all, you do Arabic translations for the Chaldean News, and you are teaching an Arabic class here at CCF West. I know we also have a Surath class for youngsters. What do you see as the future of the Chaldean community here?
Well, I advocate for something probably different than many pursue. As a chemist, I always give this example. In this great country, uh, we are part of a very large, wonderful, advanced society. We don't want to dissolve in this ocean of cultures. We want to be part of it, and be part of it is. I give an example: is stainless steel. Stainless steel made of chromium, molybdenum, copper, carbon, many other elements, iron, and you produce different kind of stainless steel. I believe the United States is the stainless steel of the world. We want to be part of that, but not dissolve in it. We want to be a component of it, a component of that wonderful alloy. So, for the future generation, I see at the end a very bright star, and that is education. Our younger generation now are pursuing something different than what their parents did. Their parents wanted to survive. Later on, they wanted to thrive. But now they want their children to be educated. And our trinity here is education, education, education. Because if we are educated, then we can be socially strong, economically strong, and then we can contribute even better to the state and to the United States.
Wonderful. I know that you're also working on a new gallery for the Chaldean Cultural Museum, which will be coming here maybe next year. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, that's another wonderful project that we are having here at the Chaldean Community Foundation West. We have a small cultural center, a small museum at Shenandoah Country Club, which we started working on in 2005, completed in 2007. It is small, it's about 1,500 square feet or less. It has 5 exhibits covering life in the village, life in the town, life of immigration, travel to the United States, survival in the United States, thriving in the United States. So it covers that story. But in 2003, something dramatic and drastic happened that turned this community upside down in our country, Iraq. And that was regime change. Regime change was not good for the minorities, not good for the Chaldeans, Mandeans, Yazidis. We were the glue and the link of that nation. But with a weak government, we got fragmented. And that caused tragedies for all these communities. Our numbers when I left Iraq was nearly 1.5 million Christians. Today, at a census that was done in February of this year, the number is 123,000. This is tragic, and we want to document that in an exhibit which we call the Genocide of the 21st Century that will be housed here. And we are currently in the design stage and collecting artifacts and material, especially from the Nineveh Plain, where ISIS rolled in and destroyed all our towns and villages. We want to preserve that. That genocide actually need to be remembered for generations to come. It cannot be repeated. It cannot happen. We need to be protected. And if there is no local government protection, then there has to be international one. And I think that exhibit is going to tell another chapter of our story.
You also, I know that you have written about the Mandeans, you've written about the Yazidis, you've written about the Jewish community in Iraq. Can you talk to us about how these different communities interact with the Chaldean community and what we learn from them?
Yes, we, just like the Mandeans and the Jewish community, have been rooted in Mesopotamia for over 2,000 years. And we have many common denominators. In fact, it is amazing that in the major cities in Iraq, Baghdad, Basra, Hilla, wherever, the Christian community lived together in the neighborhoods of the Jewish community and the Yazidi community, more so than with the Muslim community. It was mixed, absolutely, but we found probably comfort within ourselves because we had so many shared denominators, as I said. Strangely enough, when we came to the United States, the story was repeated. So the Christians that came to Detroit lived at first in downtown Detroit and later on moved to areas where the Jewish community lived. So they moved to Oak Park, they moved to Southfield, they moved to West Bloomfield. They did not go to Rochester. They did not go to Troy. So it's amazing how history repeats itself. And of course, when we were growing up, we had friends from all different sectors of Iraq. I have a picture which I always show, whether it's in an interview or a meeting. When I was in first year in college, I was sitting at a desk in the garden of the college. And there were 4 students, young students in the first year. One of them was Ezra Georgi Neftali. Ezra was a Jewish fella, okay? Next to him, Saadi Abbas al-Yassin. It was a Shiite from Hilla. The third one was Hassan Zakku, a young Sunni from Mosul. And then Adhid Miri, me, a Christian. Can you imagine you had 4 of the major denominations of Iraq on one bench? That was history then. But unfortunately, all of us And again, because of turbulences and regime changes and Islamization of the Middle East, we ended up fragmented and scattered around the world.
I know that you have some family members who are pretty accomplished too. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Miri family history?
Yes. Um, uh, I'm very proud of this. My father was an educator. He spoke 4 languages. He spoke French, English, obviously Arabic, and he was a scholar in Aramaic. He has a number of books that are to this day alive and, in fact, taught at schools or also available at all our churches here and in the old country. My father was a firm believer in education. He was the first principal of the first American school for boys in Baghdad in 1925. And he instilled in us all education. All my siblings are far more educated than even I am. My eldest brother, Nuri, was the first PhD pharmacognosist who graduated from Ohio State University, became the first Christian dean of the College of Pharmacy in Iraq at Baghdad University. My second brother, Malik, was professor of English language. He was educated at Cambridge, England. My eldest sister was a physician. She served for a number of years in many cities throughout Iraq. My 2 other sisters were teachers. My other brother was an accountant. And then yours truly became a young scientist. So we come from a family of books and readers and achievers.
When was the last time that you visited Iraq?
I believe 2022 was the last time I went. Many of my trips were to cover the genocide story, to gather material, to visit towns, to photograph what I saw. And that was an unbelievable experience. I had to do it repeatedly. I went probably 5 times to do that between 2019 through 2022. And it makes a compelling story, especially when our people, unfortunately, in the old country do not preserve history the way it's done in the West. We care about artifacts. We care about burned pictures, and we don't consider them wasted. On the contrary, they tell a story, each and every one of them. And I have brought some of these artifacts with me here to display at the future exhibit. So, traveling to Iraq and seeing from a distance what destruction and devastation has happened there is really a teaching experience.
You've also written about the artwork here at CCF West. Do you have a favorite piece of art?
Yes, I do. And in fact, I have a piece within the piece. I love Ishtar Gate, and I love what it exemplifies. I love its colors. I love the chemistry that is on its surface. This is something which not many know. The Babylonians selected blue as their own color, and because they considered it the color of the gods. They looked at the Euphrates, it was blue. They looked at Kha, it was blue, so they thought God must be blue. So that's why it was chosen. You see it in their flags, you see it on Ishtar Gate, you see it on all their motifs. I love that. But within Ishtar walls and gates and the procession alley, there are 575 figurines that were made in the year 575 BC by Nebuchadnezzar II, which we display here in more than one area. The beauty about that, there was a figurine in it called Mushu Khushu. Now, Mushu Khushu, we have it displayed here, and we have it also displayed at our other facility on the east side. This striding dragon is a fascinating story. And to this day, many words that are within our vocabulary come from this fella. So, for example, we always use the word mu. Mu gitlek, mu gitli, mu rihna, mu jina, mu. That comes from mu shu khushu. Then there's another word in the same figurine, which is khosh, which means good. Now, No other country uses khosh except the Iraqis, because Mushukhushu is an Iraqi Mesopotamian figure. And so we say khosh walad, khosh bnayeh, khosh insan, khosh ekil. So you see, these ancient symbols live with us till this day.
They certainly do. And Dr. Mary, I've known you for a few years now, and I know that we've talked about a passion project, a digital family tree. Can you tell me a little bit about what you would like to do with that?
Yeah. As you know, we are a growing community. We are really a big tree. We are a branching tree. And as the branches grow older, they grow farther. And that's an example of dilution of a community. And I don't want us to be separated in such a way. So I thought every family, every Chaldean family, and mostly we all come from about the same villages, about the same Nineveh plain region. So we have a geographic connection. We also have historic connection and language connection and religion connection. Every family that I know, many of them have family trees. The idea is to connect all these trees to create a community tree. And I sense it in my children when they wanted to get married. And I asked them, who are they going to be marrying and who are they talking to? Who are they approaching? They said, we don't know. We don't ask. Well, can you imagine if there is a digital community tree? Young generation can connect to other families. They can know their history. They know who their parents, who are their siblings. They can know a lot of things about the community. And I think this is a project that our younger people can help with because they have affinity and knowledge and use of technology. And so we present the idea, we gather the data, the information, and today we live in a data age. And if we can accomplish all of that and put it together, I think it will be a fascinating kind of product for our community at large in Michigan and the United States.
You know, I agree with you there. Can you, just to wrap this up, can you tell us what we can look forward to in the future so in the Chaldean News, some articles that you might be working on?
I mean, articles are like water molecules in an ocean. I mean, you can pick so many different topics. But I think the timing of the article and the gist of the article is very important. So, for example, we live now in the holiday season, the beautiful Christmas season. It's nice to write stories that connect us to this event rather than talking, for example, about immigration or martyrs, or which are all beautiful topics. But I think the timing and the fact that you select the right topic for the right month and for the right readers is critical to continue our success. We need to be ahead of the game and read what our people would like to read, because ultimately it's all about the readers. I mean, you can write beautiful articles, but if you have no audience and you have no readers and there is no traction, then there is no value. So I think timing is important. The selection of the topic is equally important. And then presenting it in a simple language, easy language, in a moderate size, not very detailed, just like what Sir Winston Churchill once said about successful and good articles. It says it's like a woman's skirt, long enough to cover the legs, but short enough to make it interesting. And I think articles in the 21st century need to be like that.
Yes, they do. And so one more thing I wanted to talk about was this is kind of an introduction. This podcast is an introduction to Dr. Miri, who's going to be hosting some podcasts of his own. So you guys have something to look forward to. We've got a line of guests that we would like to have. Can't announce any of them yet, but look for that in the very near future. And Dr. Miri, thank you so much for being here today and for talking with us.
I thank you so much, Sarah, and of course to our chief technician, Laith, for making this possible.
Okay, and again, if you have any story ideas for the CN, chaldeannews.com/story. We are listening.
CN Inside the Studio is proudly sponsored by F&M Bank.